we're putting restrictions in this thing like we're doing work in the most sensitive habitat area in the country. I mean, I think you're tying your own hands here, almost, I think, unneedlessly. You've got contractors should obtain, I said, disturbed soil should be not left exposed overnight. I mean, we're adding what I see as expense upon this thing for absolutely no logical reason. And that seems, if we wrote this, we're our own worst enemy.
Well, but they're pretty much standard mitigation measures. They were actually the same mitigation measures we had in the Tomkai project 3 months ago.
But you're in the creek there.
True.
You're not in the creek here, you're on
But
a
these
road.
creeks connect to the river.
There's
You
no
know, Mike, the
creeks.
drainages go, well, they cross in
They got a
distinct
long way to
places.
go, Howard.
Well, but they're still connected.
Yeah, but where's logic coming to this thing? We're trying to make this thing happen with the least amount of dollars possible. I don't care if it's 10,000, 40,000, or 4 million. Trying to keep the cost down, and I think we're hurting ourselves with this. I'm just concerned about that.
All right.
That's all for now, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Supervisor. Supervisor Pinches.
Well, first of all, this project got initiated in 1997, so that's been 11 years. You know, I'm not going to support anything that's going to delay it. I understand Supervisor Delbar's frustration, but, you know, I guess on this issue, that's not what Supervisor Delbar's talking about, is not project specific, it's just in general. My concern is, you know, we're talking about the Brick Trail Second Access and the Redemar Road in, you know, I think Mike brings up a good point. You know, maybe our department has to stand up a little tougher, if we can, to these agencies. You know, on the other hand, it's nice to say, well, if we can get around this for writing a check for $38,500, maybe that's the way to go. It really, you know, in the private sector you call it extortion, but in the government sector you call it, that's how you do business. But anyways, I don't know. Maybe and I say we as a department, maybe we need to stand up to these agencies a little tougher, whatnot, and present our case a little better. And I'm not saying you're not doing that now. I mean, maybe there's a better way to do that. But I'm just glad to see this project. Since 1997, I first got involved in this. You know, it's kind of like I can see the light at the end of the tunnel here. And you know, we had a setback yesterday. The state, through the budget process, actually delayed the $1 million in right-of-way, which I don't think will really delay the project startup, will it, Howard?
Well, we've got some strategies where we can continue to work in the PE phase. We just can't start the right-of-way phase, and maybe iron out some things, some considerations with the owners that'll make it smooth when we can start. Yeah.
The funding wasn't taken away, it was just delayed a year.
Correct.
Which actually, not just this project, Mendocino County and all of the Mendocino County state projects really has done fairly well through this budget crunch with our STIP. Anyways, I want to get this project moving, and I'm not going to hold it up. Actually, now is the timeline to get projects like this going, because the bids and whatnot are, so if we can get this out to bid, the sooner in this window of opportunity, we're going to save a lot more than the $38,500 if we can get it out to bid in the near future, just because of construction costs in the contracting business out there is very competitive right now. So the kind of the iron is hot, and we need to strike here as soon as we can. And I'm not willing to, like I say, I understand Mike's frustrations, but I'm not willing to do anything to hold us up at this point.
Any additional questions to the staff report or concerns? Seeing none, let's move to public comment then on the issue. Are there members of the public wishing to speak to this item? Please step forward, state your name, keep your comments to 3 minutes. Okay then, pretty straightforward project. I'll close public comment then and bring it back to the staff for closing final remarks or discussion. Supervisor Delbar.
Howard was getting ready to say something.
Like I say, I think we've got a a good mitigating negative deck here. It brings us to a point where, once this is in place and the appeal periods run out, we can certify our right-of-way. Supervisor Pence has just indicated, because of the CTC, we've got a whole year to leisurely certify our environmental phase and get ready to start our right-of-way phase. And that's all I've got to say.
Supervisor Delaware.
Well, I hope we don't leisurely approach this thing. I think we need to aggressively approach it.
Okay.
You know, I've been wanting to cut the ribbon on it years ago, so you know how I feel, and we've, only was it $1 million what was delayed?
$1 million.
$1 million delayed, and the rest of it's not, so we can proceed full speed. And I'm not interested in delaying this. I'm frustrated at what I see is, once again, the state nickel and diming us on every opportunity they get. And it's frustrating, it really is, to sit there and see no logical link between what they're asking for, just as they were at Mill Creek, take the dams out and put in fish ladders. There's no logic behind it. But that's what you get when you get staff doing what they think is what they want to see done, not necessarily what makes sense. In regard to the banking thing, I don't know how many more projects we have in the pipeline through the 5-county thing.